Hey. So, as you know, there is a big project in the making over here, and part of that project is for me to remove some of these used wooden raised beds that we have enjoyed for many, many years, but they have broken down over time and they are due to be renewed. And as you know, I will be replacing these raised beds. So part of the task here is for me to just empty out the compost that is in these beds and temporarily house them in the big dumpy bags. In the meantime, I do have some plants in here, some edibles that are dormant at this time of year because we're in the middle of winter in the UK. So the plants here have gone into their dormant phase. So I'm actually digging out these plants and I'm going to temporarily heal them into some soil, which is what you see me doing here. Taking out the compost from these beds. I've got some plants that are dormant at this stage. This one gives us some lovely berries. I'm going to remove it, but house it temporarily in the big dumpy bags. This one here, have a look at the name of this particular plant, and it does give us some lovely berries. Can you see that? Okie dokie. Deciduous, meaning that it loses its leaves, but it's just dormant. And I'm going to put this temporarily into a bed to give me access to this used bed, which I am removing slowly but surely. I also have in this bed actually some raspberries. Let's have a look if I can. Here we go. I also have, these are the thornless ones and they're lovely. Let's see if I can. Tayberry it's called. Where are we? Can you see? And they give us some beautiful thornless raspberries. Anyway, let me just keep on working. It's a lot of work to be done. I'm going to see if now that I have removed quite a bit of soil, let me see whether I can't just pull that out now. The thornless raspberries at the back here. Ooh, that was an old one. There's another old one. Bit of a tug of war going on here. Let's see who wins. Ooh. That is quite some. I found another label. It could even be this one. I think it is. Rubus thornless evergreens. As you can see, I've been able to pull them out from the roots, and you can see already that there are lots of new shoots wanting to emerge from here. As I tugged it, you saw that one of the old stems actually snapped off, which is not a bad thing, because at this time of year I can remove all the dead, damaged and diseased. Removing dead, damaged and diseased gives new growth the opportunity as well. So it's not a bad thing in your life generally. Get rid, in this new year that we are embracing, get rid of all the old, dead, damaged and diseased. Oh, not necessarily old. Let me just rephrase that. But get rid of the damaged, dead, diseased. Things that serve you, keep in your life. The things that no longer serve you, remove to allow space for new growth. So let me continue in this bed, removing the plants and removing the old frame. Right, so you've just seen me pull out some of these raspberries from the bed. They're all dormant. I had already pruned them back, hence the short stems on all of them. So I'd already pruned them back after, harvesting the berries. And it's not a bad idea to do this at this time of year. You can see where the new shoots will emerge. And by pulling them out, some of them actually sort of snapped. But again, it's not a worry to me because what I've actually been able to create are lots of new plants. Each of these is viable. So what I can do is just bury them temporarily into some soil, and in the springtime, the new shoots will emerge. And I've now got multiple plants from what was a single plant. So that's what we have here. Plenty of new plants. It's always a good idea to, propagate plants. And now is a great time. Here, I've got many new plants. I will gift some to friends, no doubt, and I'll pot some on. So there we go. That's a good thing. Okay, so this is where I'm going to temporarily house the berries. I've got some compost I'm going to throw into the large containers until it's about half full, roughly. And then, so I've just topped up some soil in the containers. They're about half full. And then with those raspberries, I'm simply going to pop them in here. I'm not too worried about the fact that the roots are just laying on top slightly and they're not all the way down, because this is only a temporary housing for them. And I'm only able to do that really because it's a dormant time of year. So I'm just going to place them in there. Okay, so not all of them are thornless. There's much like one. And top it up with some soil. To make sure it sort of makes contact with the roots. It's not just on the top. There we are. I'll do the same with the other one here. Pop that in. It's quite compact. In fact, I'll put one in first, put a bit of soil, and then put the other one. This in. Again, this is just a temporary place, temporary holding. remember what is what. Just stick that in. Just sort of shaking it around the roots to make sure the roots are at least covered. And that's pretty much it for now.
You can see how these have served us so well, but they have now finally broken down beyond repair. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to be in the garden. My name is Tossie and this is my channel all about gardening and what I get up to out in nature. So I must start off by saying thank you for joining me today. I'm in my greenhouse, except you will notice that there is no glass or no perspex in this greenhouse. I've alluded to this in a previous video where I plan to make a big change in this area for several reasons. One is because I no longer want to use this metal structure, but I would like to re-change this whole area. I must start off by saying welcome and thank you for tuning in, but also I trust that you are well, because I certainly am. Oh, look at our friend here. Look at our friend here. She's not my cat, but she is welcome. Hello. Hey cat. She's in a little basket here anyway. She just comes and chills in our garden. She's welcome too. So this here is the greenhouse. It has no panels, it never has done. But I'm going to remove this so that I can create something else. I also brought to you in a previous video the fact that the raised beds I have here have more or less served their purpose, and I now have, I think they might be rodents going into these beds, so I have to create another structure. I'm going to start by dismantling this metal frame. Okay, at the same time I will be harvesting some of the Jerusalem artichokes that are in this bed and really clearing out this whole space. It will require for me to remove the pathway as well, so that I can really pull this back to a bare canvas and start right from scratch again. This task is going to be something that I'll be doing over the weeks and months of the autumn and into winter, I'm sure. So it's not going to be a short video at all, but it'll be broken down into sections.
So what I'm doing here, this is all part of the big transformation. This will take me weeks and months, no doubt. I am raking up all these pebbles. When I first placed them, there was no soil underneath it, but over the years, just leaves and maybe a bit of compost where I've dropped here and there has caused a lot of soil to now become apparent within the pebbles. This is the area that was going to be a greenhouse once upon a time, but I'm making lots of changes because the wooden boxes that I've used for many years have broken down and are really past their best. You can see lots of broken down parts now where the boxes themselves have begun to decompose over the years and has weakened. They have weakened over the years, and this huge task is to replace all these boxes with some metal containers which I have located, and I need to empty out this whole area, which is surrounded with a low brick wall that we built many years ago. And I'm going to just try and let's see if I can bring on the outer side of what was going to be a greenhouse. I'm going to take out all these wooden boxes. They've all become compromised now. As you can see, I've had some plants grown in here, but the task is a huge task. It's something I've been putting off, but I need to get done. And this could take me the whole of this year, really. It could, if I'm being realistic. I'm hoping it won't take as long. The flooring has become uneven, and what I'm trying to do is pick up all the cobbles that have now become mixed in with some compost and soil. I'm going to try and sieve as much as I can through this griddle, which I actually made just by using an old bread crate and putting in some mesh. And then what I'm going to do is shake out as much soil, allowing the soil to go back into these boxes. These boxes, however, will also be emptied out. It contains a lot of my homemade compost. I will take all the compost out, take all the boxes out, and dispose of the boxes appropriately. So that's what you're going to be seeing me do. And I'm going to be jumping from task to task. I'll be jumping from one task to another, no doubt. And what I want to just try and do here is to take out the soil. Let the compost fall back in here. And then I will take the soil out, dismantle the boxes. I have a big job ahead. This will take, so this is an ongoing project. I'll film a bit, every so often and just bring you up on the journey so that you can see what's going on. So I'm just going to be working on removing the cobbles at the moment. And I've got some amazing plants, a lot of edibles in this box. But as I said, it's been totally compromised. I need to see if I can take them out and put them into a temporary container or a temporary place. And when I finally bring the metal boxes that will be in here, hopefully for many, many years to come, I will then replant them back in. So thank you for watching. And then I need to remove this and actually move it quite a distance away, because I don't want anything to be in the way of this project going on. So I need to move all these to another area of the garden. I'm literally sifting the pebbles and allowing the soil to fall back into the box. Okay, so this is the area, as I said, I'm clearing out. Obviously, to get the job done, I'm having to just get on with the job, so I'm not able to bring the camera around and move it around as often as I would like to. But these are the boxes that I've previously used, and they've been incredibly amazing for the many, many years that I've used them. But they are finally, alas, compromised. Not only are the boxes themselves compromised and breaking down and need replacing, as is the case when you use natural resources such as wood. I did say in one of my previous videos that it looks as if there is a critter of some sort coming over. You can see a clear, where are we? Just there? I'm not sure if you can see it from the camera angle that I'm at, but there's definitely something coming in here, and a rodent of some sort, to be specific. And I really just want to use this opportunity as I'm replacing the beds to reinforce the ground in some way. I may make use, I'm sure, of some of the surplus concrete slabs that I recently gathered from a project I did where I was swapping the patio slabs around. So these are the beds. There always used to be a clear gap here, but whatever's digging into there, you can see another hole there. They're filling up the spaces, and so it just means that the boxes really are totally compromised, and I'm slowly getting rid of them. What I can show you in this particular bed is fantastic. Again, a previous video will show you that I've had loads and loads of Jerusalem artichokes, and that's these, again, they're growing up, you know, springing through. You can just see the dark red base, and they're sprouting through. So this bed here, I'm going to have to be very careful where I put this soil. This soil will be filled with Jerusalem artichokes, or sunchokes they're often referred to. They produce edible tubers. Okay, I just spun myself around, I'm on the other side of the bed. But this bed here has got loads and loads of Jerusalem artichokes. They are just pushing themselves through the soil now. And as I said in one of my previous videos, you've got to be careful where you plant them because they are prolific. They are absolutely prolific. So I have to be very mindful where this soil ends up. I'm going to sift it out and put them in a particular area because I don't want to use this soil everywhere or anywhere else in the garden. It was my intention to have Jerusalem artichokes. Absolutely, they are delicious. They can be eaten as potatoes, you know, so they create some small bulbs type, you know, sort of tubers, or tubers I think is a better reference, at the base of them. For me, probably the end of July, end of summer, beginning of autumn. And they're beautiful, they're delicious. They can be just grated actually in salads. They can be steamed, used as potatoes basically, but they really are very prolific. So be warned, be warned, be warned. But the great thing is that they are so reliable. They come back year after year after year with no effort whatsoever. I've also got in this bed some wild garlic, and the smell, I can smell them, they're lovely. So you can just chop up the leaves and use them. You know, if you're looking for something garlicky, you can put it in pestos, you can put it in stir fries. So I've also got lots of wild garlic growing in here as well. So I'm going to just try now to, what should I do now? I've got a big project, as you know. I've got lots of things going on here, and in this bed here I've got lots of edibles that I need to transport into a temporary container, replace all of these beds, and then put them back in situ. So right now I'm oohing and ahhing. Nope, it's not yet time for me to sift that out. I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm just going to carry on doing what I was doing, which is just moving things around, getting rid of the stones for now, and clearing out this area. But this is a long project. This is going to take me weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. So I'm just going to be videoing as I'm going along, and I'll see how I'm able to edit it and put it together for you to watch, okay? Beyond me here, so this is what will be the greenhouse effect, if you like. And beyond me is the pond. It's beautiful, look. Spring morning. Can you see the movement in the pond? Well, that's actually a lot of bees that are coming to land on the different plants and take liquid. You'd be amazed. For bees to succeed in their hives, they do need access obviously to plantation, you know, plants and pollen, nectar, but they also need to have a source of water, and they will take messages back to their hives to let the hives know where there is a source of water. So that's what we can see in the background. I'm not sure if it's picking up in the camera per se, but there are loads of bees just coming back to this area because of course they know that there is a natural source of water for them. So I'm definitely jumping around from task to task in here. I just told you about the Jerusalem artichokes, and I've just been moving some pots from here to the back of the garden. I just showed you the pond area. You know, like a game of Tetris when you have no clue, you're just trying to put pieces together. I'm just trying to do things in a logistic way so that I do not have to repeat the task or the exercise. So what I'm trying to do at the moment is, I think this will be the area where I want to put the boxes in the first, and I've measured them up, and 3 can go along this side and 3 of the metal containers can go along here, but I need to get this whole place emptied. As I said, I've got some Jerusalem artichokes, and that compost really needs to be kept very separately from everything else. The compost here, and that's where I make my own compost, in these areas here. Over here I've made my own compost bins. What I did is the council allow you to purchase them, and I did, and I cut out the bases of them so that the base of those bins can make contact with the soil so that the worms can come in and do their magic. However, in order or to prevent rodents from climbing in from the bottom, because I know that is one of the concerns in gardens, you know, rodents, I actually used some cable tie similar to this with a mesh the same as this at the base of it. So whilst it's open to the soil, or rather it has an opening, it will prevent things like rodents coming in and out of the base. That's what I've done on that side. I have also got, let's just stop and say hello to these tulips. Good morning, tulips. I have got this box here, and it's been dormant for the last couple of seasons actually, although I've got some rogue potatoes in there. So what I might do first is cart this soil off to the back of the garden, and then in that place put a dumpy bag where I will put much of the soil here in that space. I don't know if I'm making sense, probably not, but I think in my head I've come up with a bit of a solution to help me be able to move this soil around without much effort. I was about to say, well, it's going to be a lot of effort, but I think I know what I speak of. it's like when you're tidying up a space. Initially, it just looks worse before it looks better. So that's certainly the case here. I'm just moving things from left to right, right to left, up, down, up. And it doesn't look as if there's much progress being made, but I know that this is a task that's going to take many, 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 many hours. Look at that. I've technically harvested my first 2 potatoes of the season. 2 tiny little potatoes. See? My compost is a treasure chest of goodies. Oh, look at that. Some more volunteer potatoes. I'll harvest them now. We're in March. These are just volunteer from last year, but I'll make a little maybe potato salad with them, why not? So what I'm going to do with this compost is take it to the end of the garden, and then I'm going to remove these rotten wooden pallets and temporarily put a big tonnage dumpy bag here where I will put the compost from this area in that space. This compost is rather dry, so I'm going to add some like grass clippings and wet it down a little bit. But really it's still usable, it's not a problem with that. But I'm going to just transport this older compost to the end of the garden. I can always use it just for mulching if necessary. Okay, I think I'm low enough. I can now take the first collar off. So these I think I purchased here in the UK. We have eBay. We have eBay as well, I'm sure, everywhere. and they literally just slotted one on top of the other. I'll bring it in a bit closer so you can see. So these are just wooden, I think they call them pallets or wooden collars, and you can just stack one on top of the other, and we've had them for many years and they've been incredibly useful. They slide closed, or they just, and that's how you purchase them. You open them up and you've got an instant made bed. So whilst they have been incredibly useful, they have served their purpose now, and they're getting a little bit rotten, and I'm going to dispose of those appropriately. Put it there for now so I can continue. Another potato. Okay, so the further down into these containers I'm getting, the drier the compost. And so what I'm going to do is continue to remove it because I need the space. But instead, of putting it into the big bag at the back, I'm actually going to use it just to mulch some areas around the garden. This is really quite dry and quite dusty. Mulching, when you put a thick layer, can prevent roots from freezing, so it can keep the area warm. Also, in areas where it's in excessive heat, it can keep the roots cool, so it does both things. It can keep an area warm, it can keep an area cool. And of course it can help keep the moisture in and suppress unwanted seeds from germinating. This really is very dry at this part. It's like dust. But it is still organic matter, chemical free. So I'm going to use this to mulch around some trees. This is the area where I planted the crocuses. Do you remember? Here they are, the white crocuses that I planted about 5 weeks ago or so. We've still got the hellebore, and the comfrey's coming back magnificently. I also planted in some silver birch, these trees here. And whilst there's a lot of ground cover, which is great, because again, it keeps the moisture in, I'm going to use this compost that I've just removed from the old beds I'm going to use it as mulching around this area here.